A community in Hartford making demands following the shootings of two men by police.
53-year-old Everard Walker and 55-year-old Stephen Jones were shot and killed by Hartford police officers last month while they were each having a mental health crisis.
Your reporter Owen Kingsley is live right outside City Hall with more on what they're demanding. Owen?
Well, the North Hartford Public Safety Coalition, made up of religious leaders, neighbors, business owners, they are demanding accountability towards the officers who shot both men. To achieve that, they have made 5 demands. The first of those demands to terminate the officers who discharged their firearms in each of the recent fatal shootings. The coalition surveyed more than 100 people in that neighborhood and believe it's what the community wants too.
A clear response by 67% of the residents in this area said the officer should be terminated.
Come on. Per protocol, the Office of the Inspector General is investigating the shootings and has not yet determined if either was justified.
At the same time, the Hartford Police Department has the authority to review whether its own policies and standards were followed through.
We, as a city, are not legally allowed to do anything until the State Inspector General concludes their investigation.
The coalition also wants to see the Inspector General expedite their findings within the next 6 months. In part, they responded with, quote, "The office will work diligently to gather all relevant facts and ensure the final report reflects a complete and accurate account of the events. The investigation will be completed as expeditiously as possible." Another demand by the coalition was for Police Chief James Ravella to hold a public community briefing within the next 7 days.
Hearing what is being worked on, what conversations are happening, and what steps are being discussed would go a long way toward helping residents feel heard.
The last 2 demands are that the coalition ask the city to permanently fund its mental health crisis response systems and ensure the Police Accountability Review Board is fully activated.
This, Hartford has been on the forefront of funding mental health systems within the city. In fact, we're one of the few cities that has a mental health response team that goes to the scenes of incidents and oftentimes responds ahead of the police. In fact,
Hartford's mental health response team did respond ahead of the first of those 2 recent officer-involved shootings. Now, according to the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, the team had not yet been called out ahead of that second shooting, but they say they were anticipating that phone call. Your reporter live in Hartford, I'm Owen Kingsley, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.